Good morning, everyone, and happy Saturday. I bring you greetings from Durham, North Carolina, also known as the Bull City. Whoop, whoop. My name is Nicole Williams, and I would like to welcome you to the Holy Ground Spiritual Center. I am the next generation leader, and this month's theme is on peace. I really hope you enjoy this experience. Webster coins peace as freedom from disturbance, tranquility, or a state or period in which there is no war or that war has ended. I would like to lift up scripture that I want echoing in the background of our minds throughout this experience. The scripture will be coming from Matthew 10:34. Jesus says, "Think not that I come to bring peace to the earth, but a sword." A little background on this text. Jesus has just named or chosen the disciples, and Jesus is teaching the disciples, or painting a picture, if you will, of how they are to live their lives going forward. A life that resembles Jesus' life, where Jesus now has been an example of how the disciples are to move on and throughout the earth. The interesting thing here is that the reason Jesus has disciples in the first place is for the stretching out or carrying out of the good news. And their duties are to see who will accept the good news. Jesus tells the disciples earlier in Matthew chapter 10 that they are to enter a house and grant peace if the house receives them and the good news, which is ultimately that the kingdom of heaven has come near. If disciples or the good news is rejected, the disciples are instructed to let their peace return unto themselves. But Matthew 10, verse 34, Jesus tells them to think not that I come to bring peace to the earth, but a sword. Jesus says that this message that greets a house with peace will even divide households. How can then a message clothed in peace bring division? It sounds pretty delusional. At first glance, I must admit that. Especially when most of us think of peace by Webster's definition, as freedom from disturbance, tranquility, a state or period in which there is no war or that war has ended. I believe, if we are really honest though, that we are in constant war within, just as much as we look out in the world around us and see that the world is often in a state of war, or it feels like it. And by war, I mean disturbance or division. And even somewhere around the globe, the world is in actual institutionalized physical war. So I ask again, how can a message clothed in peace bring so much division? I believe we can find our answer, some of the answer, by where we find ourselves situated in society. Selah.
When peace like a river attendeth my way, when sorrow my soul.
As stated before, I believe we can find some of the answer by where we find ourselves situated in society. A society that deems that only 10% should remain rich, 40% should remain poor, and the other 50% should fight over whatever is left. A society where being of black or brown skin is viewed as a weapon, not fully human, and therefore justified wherever those that fit the description as somehow always deserving of their life being cut short. A society where black women can walk and bear the upkeep of civilization, sit and birth citizens, see the future, hear and attend to the sounds of nature, and yet their voice be but a nagging cymbal worthy of silence and never worthy of rescue. How can a news clothed in peace cause so much division? A society who finds pride in announcing that slavery is abolished publicly, but who fail at reading its own fine print just as proudly that states that slavery is abolished unless camouflaged into our top money-making sectors known as prisons and jobs of corporate America. These sectors that negatively affect at staggering disproportionate rates black and brown people. A society that uses religion as a weapon of exclusion against those purposefully marginalized for capitalism's sake. A society that deems queer flesh as worthy of no room in the inn. Genocide, never worthy of being healed on the Sabbath, set free from doctrines of denial, a permanent intercultural, interrelational, interracial underclass, voted crucifiable because many pilots have washed their hands. And for many Herods, this has become a punchline. Sounds familiar? How can news clothed in peace cause so much division? A society who refuses to reckon with its trans people, created by our great trans I am creator, our God. A society who refuses to see our trans women of color epidemically led like a lamb to the slaughter. How, beloved, how can news clothed in peace cause so much division? A society who yells scarcity in the face of a heaven that has come near. A society where violence is numbing, difference is demonized. Generationally, no one can truly hear one another. Patriarchy, racism, classism, sexism, homophobia, transphobia, Islamophobia, xenophobia are so deeply embedded into the society, despite the signs that are screaming, it's a dead end. Selah. Oh, Selah.
My sin, oh, the bliss of this glorious thought. My sin, not in part, but the whole.
Beloved, although I can go on and on about our society, I believe I finally know why news clothed in peace causes so much division. For this, peaceful news confronts us within showing us our own complicities in such a society, while simultaneously, through even the presence of bodies, shine light into comfortable, complicit spaces within this same society. The peace that Jesus spoke about in Matthew 10 stands as a constant mirror that causes us to evaluate inwardly as well as outwardly. This peace that Jesus speaks of, this peaceful greeting comes to disturb, wake up, and draw a line to proclaim a mission contrary to the religious, social, political, and psychological order of society. This peace demands that we cling not to, that we release our grasp from the ways we have been socialized into saying things like this is just the way it is meant to be, because this is all we know it to be. This peace reminds us that even our struggle for justice is the other side of the same coin. This peace reminds us that justice is not a system, but a way of life. This peace reminds us that being in a society that prides itself in the pretending will cause disturbances. Yes, it will cause disturbances to be. But with all this in mind, the peace that Jesus speaks of is so different than Webster's or this world's definition of peace that this peace is not the absence of war, is not the absence of division, a false sense of uniformity, nor a false sense of tranquility. But this peace stands boldly in the midst of our personal storms and despite of societal false norms. Beloved, what does your peace proclaim? In the face of this society, can you still proclaim peace be unto you? What about even to the you within, that heaven has truly come near? What does your peace proclaim? Selah.
And Lord, haste the day when my faith shall be sight. The clouds be rolled back as a scroll. The trump shall resound, and the Lord shall descend. Even so, it is well with my soul. It is well with my soul, with my soul. It is well with my soul. It is well.
Beloved, what does your peace proclaim? What does your peace proclaim? I wanted to take this time to challenge our notion of peace. I hope that you can go in peace.